Biceps or Snowflake, however you want to refer to him, the first time he appeared, that was not in the script. That was just a total gag. Jason and I were sitting around with Raven and I can't remember who else was, I think it was Dave Weeb on that board, and we're like, yeah, there should be this guy just every time Rainbow Dash is saying, are you ready? There's a guy going, yeah! And then that just turned into this thing like, let's put it in the show, and Hasbro will cut it.
Yeah.
And they never cut it.
No, they didn't.
So, you're welcome. So while Sabrina will go and start doing the board, and at the same time as that, or just before, we go and do the voice record session, and that's where Terry comes in, and he tells the voice actors to do it right.
I yell at them. No, I mean, the beginning process of any show is, and this goes back when it started, is doing the auditioning process, and that can be in itself a long, sort of journey. And you all know that you've obviously met a lot of the actors and actresses that are on the show, and the main cast, the main six, are absolutely amazing. And we have some like Ashley and Andrea who double up on voices. So that's a really interesting process. The writers, especially on this show, have written the characters very specifically. Anything that happens, whatever the premise of the show is, each character has its own personality, which you can identify with, and it's actually written very well. Each personality follows how would that character react to a situation. So when we audition, we have to get all the actresses or actors to fit that personality. So when we selected the cast, that was an interesting process, and it went by pretty quick.
And it can be really interesting when we have a new character who, maybe a episode-specific character who's got a very big part, trying to find the voice that best not only suits that character, but fits in with the cast. And that can be really challenging to, we'll get auditions via MP3, or sometimes they come into the studio on the day and audition for us. And Terry's got a fantastic ear for talent, and not just talent, but like clarity in enunciation and accents, and like he's always catching Canadianisms from people. Like instead of saying pony, it's pony, or
the Canadians are called pony,
and they say
we have to say pony
hoof instead of hoof. So
yeah, we had one I was mentioning the other day. We had one was the word. One of the actors said cilantro.
Oh yeah, cilantro instead of cilantro.
Americans have now sort of done the Latin or Spanish version of cilantro. So it's just simple words like that, like the word process. Canadians have a tendency to say process, which is correct, but Americans go to process, or I've been there, rather than I've been there, which a Canadian would sort of half and half do. So we correct all those things.
Yeah, Canadian speak is like American speak and British speak, and those old Play-Doh machines where you put it in the thing and then you squeeze it and the hair comes out the top and then you cut off. Anyway.
Well, no, Americans used to do that, because here's a really quick example is the word Canadians will often say, where's the washroom? Americans used to say that back in the day, but now they've made it into three different ones. Where's the restroom, where's the bathroom, or where's the toilet? So those are little things that we have to do. The writers obviously give us those words.
Well, the writers are all Americans.
Yeah. And then we get into the studio, which is really the best part of the whole thing, because all the work that the writers have done, the artists have done, the directors, and then Daniel, all of that comes combined into putting that into the voice record. And now we have to, my job is to interpret what the writers and what the directors have envisioned to get that out of the voice. Like, for example, we might have a scene where the main six are huddled together in a corner and they don't want, Granny Smith to hear what they're talking about. So now we have to get that sense of that, because the actors might not have read it, or they don't understand how quiet does it have to be. There might be another scene where there's like a torrent, like an evil character has made this big vortex going in the background. Now they have to yell over top of that. My job is to make the actors to be able to yell over that, and then when it gets, mixed, when the show is complete, it'll actually make sense, as opposed to somebody just whispering and there's a hurricane in the background. So it's a lot of fun. Plus, you get to work with the actors, and I mean, like I said, the main actors that we have on the show are incredibly great actors and actresses.
I mean, there's
there's
a reason why you keep hearing a lot of the same actors coming back to voice different characters. Is because they're fantastic. And sometimes we try and say like, well, we've used Tabitha a million times, we've used Ashley a million times. Let's see who else who can come in and do something different. And we bring in a few people, and then Tabitha or Ashley submits theirs, and it's like that's the one. They want. I guess we're using them again. Like, it happens.
And we have. Oh, sorry, guys.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we have so many actors and actresses now that want to be on the show because of you guys. You know, basically, the fan base is amazing. And I mean, it's, you guys can pick out voices. I don't know if you guys memorize credits or what, but holy cow, you know the game. And when something, and again, this goes to the writers, when something's a little off on that character, you know, you guys will be tweeting and online going, Pinkie Pie would never do that.
Thanks.
You know? And,
thanks, by the way.
And it is true. And we have to watch that too. When we're recording going, yeah, I don't think Fluttershy would get that angry. And we have to watch that. And going to just, sorry, real quick on Fluttershy, which is done by Andrea Lidman. She does both Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy. And the extremes are so important. I mean, Andrea, she's a great actress, but she sort of has one voice. But what she's done is she's defined those characters by Fluttershy being really soft and quiet, and Pinkie Pie obviously going off the deep end. And I was amazed. Well, I'm amazed at how well she does that, having sort of a limited voice range.
The
Awesome.
craziest thing is seeing her switch between the two characters in a scene together. Like Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie are talking together, and we don't always go like, we'll just do a run of just Pinkie Pie, and then we'll pick up Fluttershy on the next run. It'll be, okay, Andrea, go, and she'll be Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, and it's really weird but amazing.
She does the whole conversation, like
Absolutely.
in the booth at the same,
Yeah, back and
one
forth.
take?
Absolutely, multiple takes.
Do you guys usually record them in isolation, or do you ever have them come
No,
in
they
and
do
record together?
more often than not do it in a big group so they can play off each other.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we do a record session like that, if we're recording, usually in the early afternoon, if there's a song, we'll do the song record with Daniel, and he's there, and Jason and I are sitting there and just going like, yep, pretty good. And then after that, we'll do the actual episode record, and Jason and I are also there again going, yep, pretty good, because at that point, the only things we're picking up are maybe doing some dialogue trims, or just, you know, making sure we're hitting specific moments the way we sort of envision them playing out.
Well, you and Jason basically are the hub of the whole thing because you get the notes. You're in contact with the writers, with Daniel, and with me and the actors, and you have to bring that all together. And it really is. It's, you know, it's not an easy process. And even after that, it goes into, you know, they have to mix the show or add sound effects and you know, everything to picture. It's an amazing sort of journey from an inception of an idea.
Yeah, like Jason and I really sit with it the longest out of everyone. We've seen it from inception to completion, every single episode. So after we've recorded it all, and these guys have done the board, it's up to myself or Jason. We take the storyboard and review it and make whatever changes we want to make. And then we go into an edit session and cut together what's called an animatic, which is where we put all of the storyboard panels together on a timeline and time out how, you know, like, oh, I want Pinkie Pie to hold in this reaction a little bit longer before she freaks out for a comedic effect. And that can be, we sit with the editor and do that, and that's a real long process. And then that goes to Hasbro, and they give notes on the show, and then we apply those notes. And then once that's done, we go into what's called the layout stage, where we take all the Flash assets and put them all together and pose out the show so it can be animated. And we review every single scene of the episode. And then it goes to the Philippines, it gets animated, comes back over, and we have what's called a rough cut, where they put all the animation together in the timeline according to how we timed it out at the animatic. and review it and go, that works, this doesn't, fix this, change this, bigger smile, less time, like really intensive revisions that go to the animation revisionists, and then we review it like
Don't you just
three
say,
more times.
this stinks, do it again?
I wish I
They
could
swear a
sometimes,
lot.
but
That's what you do
because-
to us all the time.
You deserve it, though.
I hate you.
I know.
Hey, so with the schedule of production,
Yeah,
how many episodes do you guys find yourselves working on at once?
Okay.
you
8
These
are
or
in
9
different
in
stages.
various.
Right.
I don't know. Sometimes it's like, for season 5, we're reviewing, writing on early stages of writing on the finale. Now we're, I don't know. Once we get into the thick of it, it'll be like reviewing animation on the first few episodes while we're looking at layout on a few episodes earlier than that, looking at boards, looking at designs, looking at scripts. Like, it can be so many at the same time. It can be mind-boggling how much is. Oftentimes Jason are like, what are we looking at today? I got to be to this place, so I better run to this room, and like, oh right, this episode where the guys do this thing. So it can be a lot. And then again, once animation is locked and Hasbro's weighed in on whatever changes they have, then we go and sit with the sound effects guys and pick out sound effects, and then talk to Will or Daniel if he's scoring a musical episode or something, about how we envision the music for that episode, and then it all gets mixed. And then even after that, there's quality control where it goes away to another place, and they're like, this thing flickers for 2 frames and it's gonna strobe, so we gotta make changes. Like, it's a really long and intensive process.
He
You
had
guys-
a beautiful head of hair before he started
Yeah,
on
he
my
did.
I was
opponent.
really, really thin and muscular, and
Do you guys have questions? Because what we can do, I'll come down with a mic. Why don't you just line up just in the middle here? I'll bring down a mic, and then we can do that.
I think we have some guys who are gonna.
Are there guys there?
All right.
There's a mic stand. There's just no mic in it.
Okay, so one thing I did when we were at BabsCon is I said people can ask any question they want, but there are caveats. If you ask a question that you know we can't answer, like spoiler for season 5, or you ask a dumb question, what's your favorite pony? Get out of here.
You have to go sit in that corner by the fire extinguisher.
We will publicly shame you. So just keep that in mind. So, open to questions.
Welcome.
We need a big gong, maybe.
Yeah, the Gong Show. I think they have a mic down there,
Oh,
Terry.
Mike, sorry.
There's a mic
Yeah,
down
they
there.
got it.
We're all good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hi, this one's for Daniel. So one of the main things I really like about the show is the music. In particular, the instrumentals. So I was wondering whether you've ever considered releasing instrumentals of the songs from the show, or whether you're planning on doing that.
A lot of that stuff is actually out of my hands. I think
Okay.
all of us are kind of, service providers essentially for Hasbro. And
Sort of to the whims of Hasbro
Yeah.
sometimes with that stuff.
So they're, right now we're just working on trying to get the soundtracks released. So that's the first priority, is just get all the songs actually available in high def form.
And some of them are longer versions than what appear on the episode just
Yeah.
because of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Say
then once
your
we do
name
that,
and
then,
where
yeah,
you're.
hopefully.
Oh, sorry. Say your name and where you're from. I'm just interested.
Andrew, and I'm from England.
Ah, there you go.
What?
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry,
No
Daniel.
problem.
I could have sworn you were from the East Coast.
Just a little further east.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but they have all those instrumentals because they go all around the world for the different dubbings in other languages. So all those instrumentals are out there somewhere. Whether or not they end up for download, we'll certainly let them know that you guys are interested.
Yeah, email your local representatives.
Cool. Say your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name's Casey. I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Welcome.
Hi, Casey.
I know.
So my question is there like any can we give ideas for the show? Because I have a few.
We actually are not legally allowed
Yeah.
to listen to any ideas.
No
because
fanfics.
on the off chance that we have a similar idea and make a show out of it, we'd have to pay you. And
Yeah, that's the,
We're
that's,
sort
that's
of
the
reticent
tricky
to
thing.
do
Like,
that.
I've had people ask if I've read particular fan fictions and stuff, and we actually have a clause in our contract that says don't do it, for the very reason that Josh said. It's just a liability thing, because if I'm actively reading stuff and then we do a version of an episode that's maybe kind of similar to that idea, then you guys have grounds to sue us. And
Right.
I can't afford that.
yeah, I definitely can.
Not on our side.
But but I mean, the fan community is huge, and there's so much stuff to participate with in that sort of area online that I'm sure there's any number of places you can get feedback from and tell your story and have an audience. It just can't be us.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hello.
My name's Mike. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
Right on.
Hey, Mike.
I was originally going to ask whose idea it was about having a Flash Sentry, but I'm going to let that one slide.
I think
So
the
much
fans
hate.
have demanded it. Everything I read online says, more Flash, more Flash.
All right. That's a personal
If
bias.
people
of
are
mine.
talking about them,
That's a-
clearly they want more.
Yeah, right?
Well, what I need to ask the writers, now that I've got you in the room,
I think it's that.
is
Francis.
why you needed to blow up Twilight's tree. Because it brings to mind a Charlton Heston quote about you being maniacs and blowing things up.
Okay.
Dude, the
Here's-
tree pissed us off. I don't know
Yeah.
how to explain it. This is a really mean tree. It had to
That
go.
was, I can't remember if that was in the script or not, but I remember Jason and I having very distinct conversations about that. And we wanted to have a moment in the finale that had real stakes for Twilight. Obviously, in this show, we're not going to kill off any characters because it's not that kind of show. Well,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
so disappointed.
Sorry, this is a show for, it's
my
aimed
God.
at children. So, tough for you.
Wow.
It's not Breaking Bad.
Walking Dead.
That being said, we wanted to have a moment of legitimate loss in the show. And we're taking these characters to new places and they need to grow and change. And the only way we can do that is by leaving something behind. And the library meant a lot, not just to you guys, but to us as well, and as a symbol of where Twilight was. And we knew, of course, well before you did, that the castle was coming. How do we justify her having two homes? Like, this is just, not only does it open a whole can of worms, but by destroying the tree, we can really help galvanize Twilight in her fight against Tirek and motivate her to go to those extreme places we wanted to take her to subsequently.
Thank you.
She could have.
I'm Brian. I currently live in Virginia, and I have a question for Daniel Ingram.
Hi.
When you were writing the songs for Cheese Sandwich and Peaky Pride, how is it that you I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but how did you try to write in Weird Al style when creating those songs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Jason put me on to Weird Al's polka medleys, and so I spent a lot of time just in awe watching those on YouTube, being like, wow. And so that's when it wasn't actually in the script to do that. And so he's like, why don't we put a polka medley into the musical? And I'm like, okay, let's do this. So then the goof off became the obvious choice. So I was able to really see what he had done. He has so much material out there, and he's also such an incredibly versatile singer and actor that it was actually pretty easy to write something for him and know that he'd be able to pull it off.
And we knew that if we're gonna have Weird Al, we gotta have Weird Al, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't,
That was it.
this is too good of an opportunity to use, we can't let it slide. And Daniel gave him something meaty to chew on. That wasn't meant to sound very.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's a
I
show for children. It's
apologize.
cool.
Good night, everybody!
as or as viewers, what hypothetical movie sequel would you want the most, and what hypothetical movie sequel would you want the least?
A movie sequel
anything?
to
Anything.
Whoa.
Whoa.
It's a
Whoa.
wide open field.
Holy smoke.
My Dinner with Andre 2. The aperitif. I don't know. That's such an open-ended question.
I want to see Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Are they really?
Well, they should keep doing it because Incredibles 2.
Yeah, up to the funeral. No?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah,
That's
get back to me on that one.
Cars 3.
No.
Cars
For you.
eat
For
planes.
you.
Yeah, I think we're getting more planes whether we want them or not.
Yeah. Boats. We haven't done
Planes, oil changes, and tire rotations.
Yeah.
School of Rock too. That's what I want. All right.
Yeah. Good afternoon to the panel. My name is Joseph Tan. I'm from Adelaide, Australia.
Wow.
Okay.
My goodness.
Referring to your comment about Hasbro and their playset, can you please give us some insight in the issues of producing a show when you're given instructions from Hasbro and they're often bizarre ideas? Primarily, Equestria Girls. Fundamentally, who is driving the show? Is it the show creators or is it Hasbro?
It's both. Honestly, it's both. It's a synergy between the two departments. You got to remember at the end of the day, even if you don't like Equestria Girls, the show itself, the Pony Show, is about a toy. And when I read comments online, we're like, oh, they're just trying to push the toy. That's what the show is.
Yes.
Yeah. Those are the people
Sorry,
who sign our
No.
checks.
That's the truth.
But it goes back to Lauren Faust, who was given the opportunity to recreate My Little Pony, in this go-round. And it goes back to what I was talking about before, is developing characters and a storyline. And going back to the guy, I forget his name, sorry, but about asking about the movie, it's hard to come up with a new idea because it has to follow a storyline. And it really is about both. I mean, it is selling product. Obviously, that's what, the world sort of goes around on. But it's about telling good stories, too, with the characters.
Ultimately, if the show was just about selling a product, the show would be done. You'd be on to version 5 of the show. Do you know what I mean? Like, there'd be a different iteration of Pony. So, to any people out there who are saying that the show is completely brand driven, they're wrong. But we do occasionally get requests. They'll say we want to put, we want to give Twilight a castle. Okay, well, how do we take this request and make it feel organic in the show? And I think for season 4 especially, we did a really good job. I'm going to pat myself and everyone on the table up here on the back for how we handled that, because it could have been clunky. But because all of these people here care about those characters just as much as you do, whether you agree with our decisions or not, you're going to get as best of an integration of that as we can give you.
And it's honestly, it's like, yeah. It is a great challenge, and it's like exciting. It's almost like puzzle working. Hasbro has this playset, and they're like, hey, this is a thing we're selling, and we have to take that and go, all right.
Well, I remember
what is a really cool story?
When they told us about the castle, our initial reaction was like, ugh. And then
Yeah.
there was a moment where Jason or I like, oh, the chest could be a seed that grows a castle. We're like, we're geniuses! And oddly enough, it worked. It worked. But like Josh says, it's kind of thrilling to take this incongruous thing and make it work. And that can be really rewarding when it does.
That was kind of like the wedding episode, too.
Absolutely.
Like when we got the script for the wedding episode, we were kind of like, oh, wedding episode. It's going to be so boring. And it's like such a kick-ass episode.
It's not even... It's not even about a wedding. It's
No.
about an awesome fight sequence and a rad song with
the
a bad
coolest
guy.
villain ever.
I know.
Yeah,
when we
so
were
good.
when we were boarding it, we're like, okay, well, we have to put in. They want to see a wedding. Okay, well, we'll give them a wedding, but we'll give them like this much wedding, and then this much everything else that's awesome. Like,
Yeah, and then-
but, you
And
know,
honestly, that's enough for Hasbro. It, like,
Yeah.
really, because
Yeah,
all
they
they
just
care
want us
about
to
is that
touch
people
on
say
it.
wedding.
yeah.
Yeah, we said wedding. You're welcome.
But, I mean, like Jim was saying, it is a testament to the talent of all the people here and all the people who work on the show and how much they care about it that you have these brand requests that end up being kick-ass stories, cool shows that you guys actually love.
Well, and like if we hadn't had the request to have a wedding episode, we never would have got Chrysalis. That design is bonkers awesome. And,
Yeah.
and Rebecca Dart, who is now the art director for season 5, who was the character designer, I remember when she submitted that, even us in the board department were like,
Yes.
oh, okay, this is cool. And it got people excited to work on this and like, okay, maybe it's not
Yeah.
just about, I love you, Pony, I love you, Pony, too.
Thank you for your candor and caring so much about the show.
Thank you for caring
Thanks
about
for
the show.
coming from Australia. Holy cow.
I know, right? Wow.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. So I was wondering, the studio where everything is made, do they give any behind-the-scenes tours? I'm an animation enthusiast, and I would love to visit a studio one day and see personally how everything is done.
Well, oddly enough, they used to, and then you guys came along.
It's
And
true.
now
yeah.
it's a security risk. Not because you're violent or anything, but because you all have smartphones and Twitter handles. So,
We've
We
even
have
had
schools.
to get talent not
Yeah.
to be tweeting or videoing, during the records, because it would get out there, and the Twitterverse is just, I mean, boom, it's out there. We've had people. Somebody tweeted the other day that they were recording at the show where we do it at, and in moments somebody had written back about they showed the building because they had figured out where the building was, and it was like a mecca. It would just, you couldn't do it just logistically because there wouldn't be room and it'd be chaos. And we've had tours of kids coming through, but you really can't do that anymore. It'd be crazy, and it wouldn't be fair to everyone either.
it is, and sadly, it is disruptive to working. And
I love it.
Yeah. You guys are already chomping at the bit for 5. Do you want to wait longer?
And honestly, I haven't even seen the studio. So
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for coming.
I have a speech impediment, so I'll have a hard time understanding many stuff I'd like to know. My question is for Daniel. What was the inspiration for the back song? Because it has a Tim Burton feel to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that Tim Burton, I guess Nightmare Before Christmas was certainly a reference point. And Danny Elfman, and we talked about that. Let's kind of have a Danny Elfman-esque sort
We
of.
knew it was already kind of a scary episode.
Yeah.
So.
So let's make it scary, but not too, scary in a kind of fun way, right?
Totally
Not
scary.
genuinely too scary. So yeah, that was, I guess, the musical, but there was no specific song per se that was like, well, let's model it on that song. The lyrics were too kind of like crazy to figure out.
And there was some interesting sort of changes. Like it had to be a storytelling song, which
Yeah.
was kind of challenging in itself.
Yeah, because a lot of the songs are sort of expository that gets you from place A to B, right? But yeah, you nailed the you hit the nail on the head there. That's
And y'all are awesome.
thank you.
Thanks.
My name is Andrew Miller. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I was wondering with the return of T-Rec if it was legally possible for some other old Gen 1 characters to return. Is it possible? Because I know like
I guess
Applejack was
I
kinda
guess at this
weird.
point anything's possible.
anything's possible.
I mean, the sky's the limit. I'm not saying that we're gonna do it because you guys seem to want it. So
It's on the table. Doesn't have to. But thank you. You've done a great job on the show.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Hi, I'm Tripp from Raleigh, North Carolina. My question's for Terry.
Yep.
When you are auditioning voice actors and actresses, do you give priority to people like Andrea or Ashley who can do multiple roles, or are you just looking just for the best voice for the part?
A good question. Now, actually, and Jim had touched on this earlier, is now we're trying to find, for incidental characters, new voices, because it'll just expand the show. And so we're always on the search to find new and interesting characters. We recorded last week. I won't say what it's about or anything like that, but there's a guy that's never been on the show before, and he nailed it out of the park.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And that's what we want to get, because there's so many new people that want to get into the show.
We're going to start having a buy-in instead of just like, it's like a $2,000 buy-in because they stand to do really well.
Directly into your pocket.
Exactly. Terry and I are going to split it.
There is a savings, budget-wise, if you get the actor to do it that's already on the show. But I think for the fans and also for the acting community, it's fun to get other people in there because they're in awe, because they've never been on My Little Pony, and it is a calling card show. I worked on a show called Ed, Edd and Eddy. I don't know if you've ever watched that one. And I worked on another show, Johnny Test, and these are calling card shows that we do that you can say around the world that you've worked on. And My Little Pony has surpassed either of those shows, and it's a calling card show. Because there's other shows that I've worked on that are Canadian shows, and you go, yeah, I never heard of that, So yeah, we always look for new people in the acting community. That's fun.
Guys, I think we maybe have time for a few more really short
They're
questions.
kicking us out.
Cool, thanks.
Sorry. So if you can have like.
We'll be really short and get through as many as we can.
Yeah.
My name is Anna Duck. I'm currently studying editing and production in Tokyo, and my question is for Miss Sabrina. I wanted to go into storyboarding, so I was wondering what skills are really necessary and want to focus on for that, and where should I start after college, if you don't mind?
I think Jim should answer this question.
You should. I've talked enough.
I went to school for it as well. You really want to tell a story with pictures. Story is the most important, I think. I hate to say it. That's where the meat is the storyboarding.
Storyboard really is sort of the first consolidation of the show
it's
as a show.
It's the visual interpretation of the script. It's what you're seeing in your head when you read what they write down, and you want to be aware of your shots and what shots will best convey the emotions you want to let your audience feel. It's a hard process. It's long, but I really enjoy it because I love, working with Jim and these guys and bouncing ideas off.
And you're good at it too.
And I like.
She doesn't do well with compliments.
No. It's funny because
you're in the wrong place.
It's funny because I've been working on the show for so long, and I'm back for 5, and I've been sitting in these meetings, storyboard meetings, thumbnail meetings with Tim, our storyboard supervisor, and I look out at all the other artists who are just doing, flash builds or layout, and just recently, this was a kind of a thing for me where I said, Jesus, this is really the coolest part. We're having a great time. We're laughing. We're coming up with stupid stuff to put in the show, that we hope that you guys love. And it's kind of renewed my want and need to tell a funny story visually, and I don't know, it's just the emotion in it.
Tips are draw.
Watch lots of live
draw
action
some more.
movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't just watch cartoons and
No.
don't just watch one genre of cartoons. Watch film. We reference and pull from movies of all kinds. I have referenced really weird stuff. One day I'll be like, I want a shot like Ghostbusters, and then I want something from a Kurosawa film. It runs the gamut.
The more you watch, the better, because you've got like a log in your head of
It's
a
a
memory
visual
of-
lexicon.
It really
Yeah,
shows, too.
that you
There's
can
some of the
refer
stuff
back
we
to.
see.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, I've never seen that in a kid's cartoon in my life.
Like, without spoilers, you know, one of the last episodes I just worked on, it was like, after 5 seasons, this opportunity to do something so good.
She was so psyched.
I'm like, I can't wait like a year to go off about it, but like, I can't wait for it to air because it was part of the story, it was able to stay in visually, and it's just totally, it was such a selfish and horrible thing. I'm like, this needs to go
Yeah,
in,
but
I don't care.
That's the nice thing with this show is that there are opportunities for us to try things. And
Yeah.
more often than not, Hasbro has
Yeah,
been
they've been
fantastic
amazing.
about letting us do weird stuff.
Like the G1 Pinkie Pie?
Yeah.
Like, what?
We thought
So
for
cool.
sure.
We thought for sure it was gonna
that
get cut.
That or the fact that she had fingers.
Yep.
Like we were laughing so hard in
Like
the
me
thumbnail
and
meeting
Dave,
about
me
that.
and Dave were like, we were like, let's just try a whole bunch and just see which ones
Yeah,
they
we
keep.
thought well, maybe one of them will go through. All of them went through.
No, there was one that wasn't.
What was the one
It
that
was
didn't go through?
so creepy. Oh my God. Dave made, it was the part where she's going,
Oh,
I'm the
right.
real Pinkie Pie. I'm the real Pinkie Pie. He had a character in the board who had like fluffy hair like you. And his head turned. So that was like a back 3/4 and there was just a pinky head like
It's like
on
that-
the back of his
like
head.
the professor
like
in the
just
first Harry
face.
Potter movie where
yeah.
Voldemort's on
That's
the back
creepy.
of his
It
head.
was, that
It
one
was
didn't-
really weird.
That one didn't stick. We're like, Dave, it's never gonna go through, but
We
we'll just
tried
leave
it.
it in. Oh, it was great. And that's why storyboarding's fun, because you get to do all that weird stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
I think sadly we have to cut it there, guys. I'm
So
so
sorry.
Demand more next time. Thank you for your time
so
and your
much. Yeah.
questions.
Thanks
you so
very
much.
much.